Ba-do-ba-do-ba-do-do.
Nerds!
Let's get ready to party.
Do, 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 do.
Welcome, everybody, to Book One, Chapter 9.
Wow, we've made it this far.
Yeah, almost in the double digits.
Almost, but not yet.
Not yet. It is not this day. That's one of my favorite quotes, in case you haven't figured that one out yet. We thought instead of doing a specific franchise, that's the word I'm looking for, that we would talk about reboots.
Reboots.
Reboot. I don't know why I'm feeling like a DJ right now.
We gotta get you a soundboard. But the buttons don't actually do anything, it's just you.
Yeah, just for my own sanity.
Yeah.
I have a Daft Punk soundboard on my phone. Okay, we were talking to our sister Heidi, and this was after the Twilight episode, and she was like, "Oh, you tell it," because she was actually talking to you, and then you relayed this to me, so you just tell the story
Remind me of the story though.
that she told you.
We talk a lot.
Okay, I'll just say what I remember.
Oh, okay. I'll clarify if I remember.
Yeah, she was basically saying like you guys should talk about like who you would cast as like certain people if they were to reboot Twilight because they did such a bad job.
Oh yeah, that's the whole story.
Is it? Okay. Well, I wasn't there for it, so
There might
I
have
don't
been
know.
like gossiping, but nothing like pertaining
About
to Twilight.
Robert Pattinson. Ooh,
Probably, yeah.
spicy. But it's kind of funny because since that conversation, they have announced that they're making a Twilight TV show.
Yeah.
Do you know anything
It's gonna
about it?
be good. Well, I think it's still in the works. So I don't know if it's like 100% announced. I think it's more of like, yeah, we as like a studio accept this as like a project, but we'll see where it leads to. Sort of like, speaking of another reboot, Princess Diaries, how Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews and I think even Raven Simone has agreed to like be in the next one. But they just haven't wrote it yet. So
Kind of like Tron 3.
yeah. Oh, that was also part of the conversation too. She was like, "Yeah, Tron 3. Like, what about that?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you'll look to my background here,
Wow, what a
not at the
background.
unfinished wall, right here. These are DVDs.
What are those?
Okay. But they're all of like, okay, so I've got Lord of the Rings. This is Fellowship of the Ring extended edition, of course. Um, and it's because like oh, I just forgot who bought the rights. But someone
Amazon.
has Amazon. No,
Well,
I
they have
think it's someone else.
rights for Rings of Power, which is
They
like
have the
the
rights for the Second Age, which is a
yeah.
whole conversation. But like someone has the rights for this time frame for a new, like basically they're going to reboot Lord of the Rings.
My guess, HBO Max. They have like rights to everything.
Oh, I think it is them.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Lord of the Rings, then Tron, because Tron Legacy was a soft reboot. Then here's Robin Hood and Hook, because I mean those are two things that like, I mean, a new Peter Pan just came out, you know.
Yeah.
Then we got Gladiator, because I've heard that Pedro Pascal might be in a new Gladiator sequel. And then we've got Dragon Ball, highly controversial movie that I love.
When he says controversial, it's like terrible. But if you're
Okay,
a fan, you like it.
no, if you're a fan, you absolutely hate it. It's like I would say the Dragon Ball fandom hates this movie more than the Avatar fandom hates the Avatar movie.
Wow, those are some strong words.
Well, I mean, they cast a white dude to play Goku, so
Already started off on the wrong foot.
yeah, and then it's the worst. Anyway,
What silly,
yeah.
kids.
And then right here, did you know that they rebooted Freaky Friday?
I did, and I did watch it, and I did not like it one bit
Yeah,
of it.
it's not that good, but we
No.
have it. Um, and then here's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone because HBO is doing a TV series of Harry Potter, as we know.
Wow.
And then, of course, Avatar, The Last Airbender,
Avatar, which
because
we've already
Netflix.
sort of like talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my background.
Something that you don't have there is Power Rangers. Caleb just got up and left.
You did this.
Oh, he does have it. There's a bucket. Oh, wow. Okay. Good job. Oh, balancing nicely on those DVDs.
I had to take my headphones off.
I thought you were getting up and walking away. Like you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. If we're gonna talk about Power Rangers, we're not gonna talk about it at
Oh,
all.
crap. I forgot that I was holding up my background.
That's okay.
This is from my bachelor party where we went and watched Power Rangers.
Nice.
But yeah, they're coming out with a soft reboot versus a full reboot.
Which, by the way, do you want to talk about the differences about what a full reboot and a soft reboot is?
Sure. I, in my not expert opinion, I think a soft reboot is basically like, hey, here's a property that we haven't touched in a really long time, aka Tron. And 30 years later, let's just pick up the story right where it was, because there's a strong enough fan base to do that. And we'll just kind of reintroduce all the elements versus a full reboot where they're like, okay, we are just starting from square one, like start over,
Yeah.
scrap it and start over, which is what they're doing with Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that in my opinion, I sort of like soft reboots a little bit more than full reboots. And the reason being is because like if it's worthy enough for a reboot, that means that the original series is good. So I have high, high, high standards for the reboots, the full reboots. Whereas like the soft reboots, I feel like I'm a little bit more like, it's okay, you know?
Yeah, I like because also like when you think about soft reboots, like you could argue that everything going on Star Wars is a soft reboot,
Yeah, that's true.
but it's really not a reboot because it's not like a franchise that people have forgotten about.
Yeah.
It's really just expanding the Star Wars lore.
Something that they do a lot in like classical novels is they do like the full reboots. It's like Pride and Prejudice has like people are like, which one do you like? Do you like the 6 hour version or do you like the 2005 Keira Knightley version? And I'm a Keira Knightley girl by far. It's 2 hours long. I love it. I love every bit of it. And I will fight people. And I know that there's a lot more detail to 6 hour movie, but what movie that's 6 hours long wouldn't have more detail?
That's true. I feel like yes, Avatar 2: Way of Water.
Yeah, soft
That
reboot.
that's a 6 hour movie that doesn't have more detail.
That's hilarious. Just a
That
lot
one
more
did not need to be
crying.
that long.
Yeah.
They typically go for classical things like that because they're in the public domain.
Yeah.
Like there's a reboot of Winnie the Pooh because the first iteration of Winnie the Pooh is now in the public domain.
Well, yeah, because they did it with Ewan McGregor.
No, that's Disney capitalizing on their own intellectual property. I'm saying
Oh.
someone else took the way that Winnie the Pooh looked the first, like when Winnie the Pooh first existed, and they've created a horror movie out of it.
Weird.
Yeah,
People are messed up.
yeah. So it's like the public domain. So like when you look at the public domain, and I don't know all the laws around it, but I do know that like Arthur Conan Doyle, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle,
Hmm.
his works are um in the public domain, so like Sherlock.
Yeah.
And then there's Edgar Rice Burroughs, who wrote Tarzan.
Wow.
Yeah, that okay. If someone could go and just like actually read the book Tarzan and make that a movie, that would be so cool. It is so good. It's so much better. Did you know Kerchak actually killed Tarzan's parents?
His adopted dad?
He also has a different adopted dad. Kerchak is just
It
the
wasn't the
leader of the
leopard.
tribe. No, it wasn't the leopard.
Weird.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like I think of like all of these like reboots that are coming and I get excited, but at the same time a part of me is like I sort of wish that they'd have their own spin on it to introduce those soft reboots because I still want more content. Like I don't want them just to pick the low-hanging fruit. I want them to work for it.
Yeah, that's true. But I also think that some things do. Okay, like an example of like the question or like what I'm saying that hasn't even come out of my mouth.
Yep. Hmm.
Harry Potter, they're completely rebooting it.
Yes.
Um, I think the majority of Potterheads would prefer. It's not even a soft reboot because technically Fantastic Beasts is still going.
Hmm.
And that might actually be why they're rebooting it is because they want to like distance themselves from the current wizarding world. Um, but I think most Potterheads would prefer something more like the Marauders or the Founders
Yeah.
or an Ilvermorny thing. Just something to expand what we already know.
But I will say, um, I think the reason that a reboot is okay for Harry Potter right now is sort of like what we were talking about in the last episode, where there's kids that are fully grown and were born after the movies have come out.
That's so weird.
I know, but it's true. And so like they're coming to the age that Harry would be the same time that we were growing up and would be the age of Harry or Ginny in my case, um, for like reading the books at the age of 11 versus like watching this show at 11.
But is that something that we're gonna do just every 20 years, just restart Harry Potter? Like,
I think if it's there, I think it will. Because like if you think about it, they've been doing it, right? Like Herbie Fully Loaded. I had the Herbie movie with Lindsay Lohan, and I didn't even know that there was a TV show in the 50s. And so
yeah,
like,
but that's a 50-year difference, not a 20-year difference.
well, what I'm saying though is like right now, because we're still alive and because we still want to watch it, like and because like it's so much easier to produce media than it was back then. I think that this is like the new trend. I think it's going to become more and more prevalent in our like lives.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and like, so there's an interview with George Lucas, and it's like an old, like I think it was during the prequels era, where he talks about how Hollywood is starting to run movies like business, and like they're coming up with focus groups and like, what do you guys want to see in movies instead of like deciding this is what the story should be, because like the prequels weren't received well,
Mm-mm.
um, but they're a beloved property now.
Yeah.
But the sequels were born more out of the focus group idea and like what do the masses want to see kind of thing, and people just kind of hate that.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what we want.
Yeah, well, and especially you go with a focus group, like I mean, I think statistically you'd probably have to pull about 1,000 people from each state to try to even get an idea of states, but even then,
Yeah. You
yeah.
might have that one outlier that's like, oh, I think you should introduce the Teletubbies.
Yeah, seriously. Speaking of reboots, everyone like, subscribe, all that stuff, so we don't wind up having to reboot this later. Like, let's just keep the momentum going. Let's grow the channel.
One a week for the rest of our lives.
Forever.
Forever. That's one I wouldn't mind seeing be reboot.
They did. You loved the reboot.
Oh no, that was a soft reboot
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. You're right.
with girls. And they're like,
With
you hit like a
softball.
girl. Yeah, you hit like a girl. And then she like hits the ball really hard and somebody throws a ball at her and then she has to be carried to home plate. I played
uh,
softball growing up. I just thought it was hilarious.
I did not like that soft reboot just because it's like it was the exact same story. The kid lost a toy spaceship instead of a baseball in the exact same yard where the beast descendant known as the Fear.
But I think it would sort of be fun for them to remake it. I think it's far enough now that like the kid could be like into drones or video games, you know? And then like he just gets involved with like a Sandlot team. And I think they could focus a little bit more on games because in the original Sandlot, well, now I'm just completely off track, but like in the original Sandlot, in the original Sandlot, they only show one game against like the like another team. I think it'd sort of be fun to see like a Sandlot like series almost where they get to like play a tournament, almost like Cobra Kai.
Oh, oh, Cobra Kai is my freaking jam. I should have worn my Cobra Kai stuff. Oh.
We'll probably do a whole episode on Cobra Kai as soon as I'm finished starting/watching it.
It's so good. Just wait until season 6 comes out. We'll wait until season 6 to do that because that's going to be the finale. And oh my gosh, I love Cobra Kai.
But you see what I mean? Like something that was like, oh yeah, it was a good movie, but like it turned into an amazing series. I think Sandlot could do that.
Yeah, well, and I mean, yeah, this is a whole other podcast, but like everyone loves Karate Kid. Who loves Karate Kid 2, 3, 4, and the girl one? The next Karate Kid. That's what it's called.
Well, and then the Will Smith, no, not Will Smith, Jaden Smith.
Yeah, Jaden Smith. I forgot all about that one, which I kind of have a problem with because I think he's actually the Kung Fu Kid, not the Karate Kid.
I don't know.
But they call it the Karate Kid.
I just remember he was really short and he was trying to kick a pie, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna work.
If you have access to it, go watch it. There's a scene where he cries, and he cries the exact same Will Smith, the exact same way Will Smith cries in any movie he cries in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like there's no tears going down. He just like
The ultimate reboot.
Jaden Smith is the ultimate reboot of Will Smith.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we should focus.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's totally good. It's been a good conversation. Who would you want to be the main character? Okay, Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
That's your number one thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Who would you want to play Bella, Edward, Jacob, and Charlie?
Okay. Okay, so as far as Edward, I think Edward needs to be a little bit more like a teenager. I think something that they didn't do well is they picked like a 25-year-old to play a 17-year-old. And then as the series progressed, it wasn't like what originally was in the books. So I'd sort of want them to go a little bit younger. I want Noah Schnapp, who plays Will from Stranger Things,
Oh,
to
interesting.
play Edward. And
Do you think he's got the vampire appeal?
I think he might have the ability to like just really like channel it a little bit. I think if given the challenge, I think he could.
Interesting. You think he's got the Riz?
Hopefully, I don't know.
I could see it like him. Oh, what was like? He like did something with Doja Cat. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, he Doja Cat slid into his DMs.
Trying to
And,
get to like Steve or someone, right?
yeah, I think so. No,
Oh,
Eddie.
Eddie.
Eddie, the guy who plays Eddie. And he like posted the screenshot and Doja Cat was like, "Hey, what the heck? Like that was a private message between celebrities." And he was like, "I'm not a celebrity." And people are like, "Somebody needs to talk to Noah. He is a celebrity."
Oh, that's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I think
Noah Schnapp for Edward.
or have you seen Shazam?
I have seen Shazam. I have not seen Shazam 2, so no spoilers, but are you about to say Billy?
Billy, the guy who plays Billy, his name is Asher Angle or Angel. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. But I think he has like the bone structure. If not, I think he'd be a good Jacob if they weren't able to find a Native American youth. And that's something that I actually really struggle with because I still think that whoever plays Jacob, I wasn't able to find anyone, should be Native American descent because I really liked how they honored that in the movies.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw out here we're 3% Native American, and I think they need to find someone who's probably a quarter.
Yeah, at least. As far as Bella goes, I really like Sadie Sink, who plays Max in Stranger Things. I think she would bring like a certain like understanding of teenagehood and also personality for one.
Isn't she like 25?
No, she's like 20. But you could get somebody no name. That's the thing with like Twilight is I do hope that they get people that are no names because I feel like there's like a preconception, sort of like how even though Edward is Robert Pattinson, or Robert Pattinson is Edward, they still sort of view him as Cedric. Or
Well, that's probably good for him, honestly.
I know, yeah, seriously. What about you?
Um, well, I didn't think about Twilight because I didn't think it was going to get turned on me for Twilight.
Oh, okay. We can go
But
on a different
but
one.
well, I mean, thinking about it, I would personally think that Edward, Bella, and Jacob should be no-name people that people have never heard of. As far as Charlie goes, I think they should get the guy from the movies, the guy who played Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
I think he should reprise his role.
He was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Okay, I also mentioned like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings in the text to you of like who would you want? Is there anyone specific for like Harry Potter that you would want?
The only one that I was thinking about that I think would actually like blow their role out of the water would be Octavia Spencer if she were Molly. So I really like her. I think she would like bring that motherhood to that role. It's up to like the casting directors, but like I do like her. I think that she'd bring like a certain like spin on that character. I do have a lot of ideas though for Lord of the Rings.
Okay, well, still with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's kind of the same thing as Twilight. I would love to see more no name or like smaller name people because like I've been seeing people say like, "Oh, Adam Driver should play Snape," you
Yeah.
know. But what I really want to see, what's more important to me, is representing the ages of these characters.
Yeah.
Like I said in the Harry Potter episode, I am the age of Severus Snape in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Like I look nowhere near the age of Alan Rickman in the movies.
Yeah.
They need to find people of appropriate ages. Like you look at Arthur and Molly, and like the actual actors in real life have like white hair.
Yeah.
Like they are old, and we're supposed to believe they're not that old. Okay. They're still young, got a lot of life ahead of them.
We're not ages.
But like they don't seem like people who were supposed to be around 36, 37.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with who I want to play Snape.
Who?
Timothy Chalamet.
He's like 22.
He looks like it, but he's not.
How old is he?
Well, he might be late 20s, but like
I know. The guy who plays the good doctor to play Snape.
but he's older than us, or he's older than me.
No, he's not. He's like your age.
Okay, during the break, we're gonna look that up. But I think Timothy Chalamet would be really good. And for James,
Hmm.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, I do think that'd be nice.
Welcome back from the break, everybody.
Welcome.
Um, how old is the good doctor?
He is 31.
He's my age.
Yeah,
I could have swore he was like 35.
and he's British.
Oh, good for him.
I'm just saying, I think I found the perfect pick, and if nobody listens to me, then
You found the perfect pick if he filmed 2 years ago.
what do you mean?
That's going to take time before they start filming.
Okay, he's close enough.
Timothy Chalamet
Hmm.
is 27.
He's too young. He's just
No,
a baby.
why is it okay that a 60-year-old Alan Rickman can play a 31-year-old Severus Snape, but it's not okay for Timothy Chalamet to get cast right now and probably start filming when he's like 28 or 29, probably more realistically 29, to play a 31-year-old?
I
Why?
don't. I
Why
don't
is
think.
that not okay?
I don't think Timothy Chalamet will want the role. That's the thing.
Who wouldn't want the role of Severus Snape?
Timothy Chalamet, and the reason being is because if he moves from lead actor to side actor, then like his value goes down.
Did that happen to Alan Rickman?
Did he ever play a main role after playing Snape?
No, because he passed away, and that's very
He
insensitive of me.
was alive way long after that. And no, he didn't.
Yeah, but it's also because he was old and didn't want to anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. Timothy Chalamet will want to.
Yeah.
All right. Can I tell you about my Lord of the Rings ones?
Yes, Lord of the Rings. Do you have like thoughts for everybody? Because
No, I'm just going to read you through. Don't tell me what you think yet. Just let me tell you as I go, okay?
okay,
So, Mark Strong, he
I
is
don't know who that is.
okay. This is the only like there's a scene in Kingsman and he sings Country Roads. He's bald, really, really pointy
Oh,
nose.
oh, he plays Merlin in Kingsman.
Yes.
Okay, yes, he's a great actor. He's also in Shazam.
Oh yeah, he is. Anyway, I think he would be good as the bad wizard. The other,
Saruman.
yeah. Okay. Then I think Jack Grazer as Frodo, who also is in Shazam, who plays he has like the curly black hair. Well, that's why I like him, is because of his curly hair. And then I think this is really good. Gayton or Mazzarato, who
Yeah,
plays Dustin, would be good as Sam.
I could see that.
Yeah. I think he just has that spirit. Then I
Might be
think
too funny though, honestly.
well maybe. And then I think um Idris Elba
Idris Elba, yeah.
as I want to say
Gandalf.
yes.
That would be so cool.
Yes, I think I no disrespect to
Oh,
Ian McKellen because Ian McKellen was freaking sick. I think it'd sort of be cool to see like a strong Gandalf.
yeah. Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
me too. I think he's like super, super cool.
Well, shoot, I didn't like really think about it that hard because like I got thinking about it and I like for all of these, I was like, well, it would just make more sense to just go find someone who nobody knows who they are so they can commit to the time frame because they're all going to be TV shows. They're not going to be movies.
Hmm.
So it's got to be someone who's committing to a TV show for like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I went and I started thinking about things that would be more important to me and like let me tell you, you remember my old roommate Harrison?
Hmm.
I think he would be great as like Aragorn.
Yeah, I think so too.
And like I hope he watches this because like honestly, I wish I had some like pull in Hollywood because like he's gonna make it someday if someone takes the time to like just talk to him. Like I know no one here knows him, but he looks like a younger version of Benedict Cumberbatch, like exactly like him.
Yeah.
And like I would just love he would be perfect. And I know no one else on the internet knows that he would be perfect right now. But right now, that's the thing. No
You
one on
know
the
who
internet knows right now.
you know who would be a good pick for Arwen? This girl in seventh grade. One time she tapped me on the shoulder.
Okay. But did this girl in seventh grade go to like the Royal Academy of something or other over in England for a
No.
master's in acting? Because Harrison did. Okay. Okay.
I'm just saying maybe he should fire his current agent and hire you. You're
Right.
working hard.
Just hype him up. He's gonna make it one day. He's
Yeah.
gonna make
I
it.
think something that they're doing because it's so beloved, these series, something that I think that they're doing with these series like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Twilight, they're so big and they made a bunch of money the first time. I think other smaller series are waiting to see how they do. And if it
Mm,
works out, then I think a lot of them might reboot. Um,
hopefully that would be good. Like I feel like a lot of them kind of deserve it.
well, somebody said that like reboots are sort of a cop out because like they're not like all these like new ideas aren't really sticking with us. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's just a comfort in knowing what's coming. And I think with like the pandemic, with like the uncertainty of it, I think the reboot culture is really strong right now because people are like, I don't have to put a lot of effort into watching it. Know it's gonna come, and I'm excited to see it in a different light.
Yeah, that's true. It does bring up my next question, if you were to reboot a franchise, which one would it be?
Ooh, a whole
And,
franchise.
and yeah, and who would play the main characters from that?
Okay, I love Fable. Fable as a video game, and there's Fable 1, Fable 2, Fable 3.
I
Eh,
completely forgot Fable went no, like it just ended. I completely forgot that.
yeah, I don't know. I think it was because of like the studio or whatever closed down. But I loved Fable. Fable was like the first like video game that let you choose to be good or evil. And I was always good. And I was always poor because I'd give my money away. And then Heidi was over there being like evil McGee,
But
who
yeah, I
just
remember she had like the biggest horns possible.
yeah,
Her
and she like
character.
yeah, and she couldn't go into certain cities in the game because she owed too much money because she kept killing certain citizens
Well, she could go in the city. She just have to kill everybody when she goes there.
or pay like a massive fine, which by the way she had because she was killing everybody. So what I'm saying is like in terms of like franchise reboot, that's one that I would like I would be that meme where I'm like, take my money, you know?
Yeah,
I loved it.
that's really cool. Wow. I didn't even think about video games for this.
Yeah, it might have been like off the beaten path a little bit. But
Well,
I
I
also
mean,
really want
no
Princess
no one would need
Diaries.
to play the main character, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But like in terms of like movies, Princess Diaries, I'm a huge fan of it. I know that it's like in the works, but is it in the works, you know?
Right, right. Yeah.
I think Mia Thermopolis Minuet Rinaldi needs a resolution.
Did she end up with Chris Pine?
Did she just rule her world, Genovia?
Is Genovia in the EU? Who knows?
What did they do during the pandemic? How's the pears? What about you?
Aragon, the Dragon books.
Yeah. Okay. We're on the same page.
Okay, Aragon. They made a movie for it forever ago, and um, the books weren't done yet, and they strayed so far from the source material, and then the books like continued to come out, and like I don't think there was any salvaging. Like everyone went and watched it. It's like one of the only movies that I've thought about leaving during it.
Oh wow.
And Christopher, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Paolini, I don't know. With uh Percy Jackson being rebooted, um Aragon was a Fox 20th Century Fox. Like they had the rights for it.
Yeah.
So Disney can reboot it now.
I think they should. I mean,
Yeah, well,
it's
he's like been on Twitter trying to get people to be like, everyone like tag Disney, tell them, let them know that you want it. I don't know. I don't care who does it as long as they recognize that they need to stick to the story.
yeah.
Like they have to stick to, like I feel like he was very intentional with what happens throughout the book that like everything like kind of pays off. Like that there's hardly anything in the book that doesn't really pay off.
Well, speaking of like Percy Jackson and with Rick Riordan, I think that's like the thing that is a possibility now is that when books were supposed to be made for the screen, they would go to movies because movies were longer than TV shows in terms of like runtime.
Well, and they had bigger production like value. They had more money.
Yeah, they had more money. And so like um when we were growing up, that's what they were getting changed into was these like movies, and so we expected them to be long and to be like Lord of the Rings extended edition, like 3.5 hours, but now they can put it in a series that they can be released on a streaming website, and it can go into that depth that you want that the movies were unable to do unless it was ridiculously long. Well, not ridiculously, but unless it was like long.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
like
I mean, with
that's
Aragon, they could easily do 15 1 hour episodes.
well, and
Easily.
that's why I think reboots are happening. People aren't running out of ideas. It's just there's a whole different like audience and a whole different like way to stream it that like people are ready for it. Like Gladiator, that like could be a movie, and then like Tron, obviously that's gonna be a movie, but like the ones that
Well,
with the
is
deep
it? It's
cuts
been in the works for 13 years.
forever. Well, with
Yeah.
the Tron ride coming out in Disney World, I could see that being a priority.
Oh yeah. Um, this is kind of I turned on my phone because I thought that I had a question related to this, and I totally do. Um,
Okay.
just about like Disney. Like, what do you think about the Disney live action reboots? Like, what do you want to see out of their reboots? Because they're doing so many reboots.
I think they need to find a right line. Okay, so like Little Mermaid, I know that there's a lot of controversy about that. And honestly, I don't care about the changes that they're making. I think the biggest thing for me is they're needing to find a line between like what movies should we make into live action and what movies shouldn't. And the I think the line should be talking animals. Like it like Cinderella was made into a live action. She like sings to birds, but like the mice never actually speak, right? Like they just like you know?
I've actually
Like
never seen that one, so I don't know.
it is so good. There's a little
I've
line
heard
in
it's
it.
good. Did you know Gilderoy Lockhart directed it?
Oh wow, what a guy.
Yeah.
There's a line in the Cinderella live action that I'm just gonna shout out. Something that like this is what I want to see in these reboots is you get to see somebody come to Cinderella's house to tell her her father passed away. And like you don't see that in the cartoon. You know, that's like a
You see it in Ever After.
you see you see
You
it in
see him
Ever
die.
After.
You see him
Yeah.
die in Ever After.
But somebody comes to the house, knocks on the door. Cinderella opens it with her stepmother and her stepsisters, and he's like, your father's passed away. And then the stepmother and the step daughters just like are like I don't remember if they were like solemn or if they were sad, but they leave. They're like mad at that guy and they leave. But Cinderella sticks behind and she's like, "Thank you for telling us. That must have been really hard for you." And then she like goes and like mourns, you know? And that's like the type of thing I want to see with these beloved characters, which like is true to their character. Cinderella's really kind, but it's like something that you wouldn't see in those cartoons. So like, yeah, that's what I think about live
So what you're
action.
saying is they completely missed the mark on Lion King for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's all. I don't know. Just make another
Well,
animated series and use the
Lion
same
King is
voices.
like, well, yeah, but Lion King is it's like shot for shot the same.
Yeah. Well, and then the additions, and I'm using quotations that they had, were not new. They were on Broadway.
Oh yeah. Um yeah, like I mean take a page out of Sonic's book. Just make it look like they did in the cartoon.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like anything where there's talking animals or talking creatures, I feel like it's just it's not live. It's not meant to be live. Now, Tangled, why haven't they made that one into a live action? That one would be
Yeah, that one would
sick.
be really cool. And well, Zachary Levi might be a little too old to play Finn now, but I would
But
love
he
to see
could
him
play
play
the
Finn.
king. He could play the
Oh,
king.
that would be so cool.
Or the guy with like the what the
The
hook.
Hook.
Yeah.
I think they should get the guy who voiced him to play him. I forgot his name in real life, but he's on Everybody Hates Raymond.
Yeah.
So kind of like what you were just saying about how like you want them to like add to the characters and stuff. They totally did that with Mulan, and I completely feel like they missed the mark on Mulan.
Ugh.
Because it's like
Yes.
I went into Mulan wanting it to be more similar to the cartoon, and like there's no Mushu, which I thought was because Mushu was too like unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
But then they totally have like this character who can turn into the Falcon, like that doesn't make sense. If you're gonna have a mystical witch who can turn into a falcon, you can have a talking dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Well, and there wasn't music in Mulan, right?
Singing,
Yeah.
or are you talking about the live action?
Yeah.
No, they did not have singing, which like I'm actually okay with that.
But they also didn't play it either.
Mm. They had the themes.
They had themes, but like they should have had a scene with like the actual legit song in the background. Like,
Okay, I could
come
see
on.
that.
And it doesn't
Yeah,
even have to be
make
like
a man out of you.
music. Yeah.
Well, especially because the music in Mulan is so nuts. Like the last time they have a musical number is A Girl Worth Fighting For. As soon as they see the village burned, there is no more singing after that.
Yeah, which by the way, as a child, I did not understand. I was like, "Oh, she left her doll there." No,
I know. Yeah,
she
actually, I
was
thought that too. I was
dead.
like, oh, she left it. She left it when they evacuated, when they saw the army coming.
Yeah, I know. I was like, "She's okay." She was not okay.
She was well, and also like the whole like how many scouts does it take to deliver a message? Just one, and then it like goes black. I was always like, yeah, but
Huh,
there's
yeah,
two
it
of
does.
them.
Yeah, it does
So
take one.
like, yes, it takes one, but lucky you have two. Like the message will definitely get there. But now I'm an adult and I'm like, wow, he just shot an arrow at one of them and they're dead.
Well, even at the beginning when he is like, "Now all of China knows you're here," and he lights the thing.
Good.
Yeah, and then like
Oh wait, no.
that dude definitely died.
Does he say perfect?
And I think he says good. So like that one they just went too far on the other end. And one live action that I am dying to see that Disney needs to do is Hercules.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were gonna say Hercules, and I almost said it with you, but
It's
I think there's a different one that I'll talk about in a minute.
it's my absolute favorite Disney movie, and I think they're gonna miss their mark if they don't do it soon because Lizzo is the absolute perfect person to play as the muse, who's
Yes.
the short muse, and
Honey, you mean Hercules.
they also have Jennifer Hudson and like all of these beautiful, powerful women who are singers that could play these muses. And I'm like, come on, it's right there. Just give it to us.
I'm just throwing this out there. I bet they cast Zendaya as Meg.
I I would not even be mad, right? Like if they do Hercules, I do wish that they would be like I wish they would do Greek people, Greek descent. Um but like at the same time like I just want to see it. So like do your
Yeah,
best, but like
I
come on.
think I think Hercules is one of those movies that could be done like the old Brandy um Cinderella.
Mhm.
Um where like I mean nothing makes logical sense for like who's in what families and stuff. Um but they just cast the right person for the role and nobody cared. I think
Yeah,
Hercules could be the exact same way.
they should just start doing that. I would appreciate it. Just
And
whatever you do, don't put the rock in it. I think
I
that
was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say, like, as long as the Rock isn't in Hercules, I'm gonna be fine. He already had a Hercules moment, you know?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Also, I feel like if the rock is ever in anything, he only plays the rock.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Hey, maybe he could play the Rock Titan.
Hey, that'd be fine.
Okay, the one that I think they should definitely redo,
hmm
Atlantis.
I haven't even thought of that. Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield as Milo. Oh,
Oh, you know, a lot of people have cast Tom Holland. Tom Holland as Milo and Zendaya as Kita.
oh my gosh.
I know Zendaya's everywhere these days.
Well, she's also pretty cool.
Yeah. I think she would be a really good Meg because she's got the personality for it.
Yeah. Did you know Susan Egan, the one who sang the song that Megara sings, I Won't Say I'm in Love? She did an interview and she was like, I also sang, I think as Belle, and she sang as like a couple other princesses for Disney. And she was like, with those ones, I had to act. With Megara, I was myself.
That's
And,
so cool.
and I love it.
Yeah, but going back to Atlantis, it's right there. So many people loved it. I feel like they don't count it as big of a success because they put so much money into it. They had to make so much money out of it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And yeah, I think it'd be so cool though as a live action.
Well, they have Terry Crews that could play the mechanic. They
Oh yeah,
have,
100%. Terry Crews would be perfect.
and I forgot her name. I want to say Michelle, but
Michelle
I'm not.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, as the other mechanic, I think.
Yeah.
Danny
What?
DeVito as the mole.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on here. Because people are just gonna get bored about Disney. We always rag on Disney.
Sorry, guys.
Um, just real quick, what franchise needs a soft reboot?
A soft reboot. Do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I've already talked about it a little bit. It's Tron. Tron absolutely needs a soft reboot. There is a very, very strong Tron fan base,
Hmm.
and like it's the same kind of thing as like Atlantis, where it's like Tron Legacy didn't make enough money. Like they put so much money into the soft reboot and then it didn't make enough money. But it made enough that it's technically a success, but not enough to like hurry up and make Tron 3, which a lot of people argue that it's not Tron 3 because Tron Legacy was a reboot, but it's a soft reboot. It's a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, along with that, I think like Fable, you know, like if they want to follow a different person, that'd be cool. Um, but something that I would want to see, and this might be like super stupid, but Powder Puff Girls.
Oh, interesting. Like, would you want to see it in cartoon form?
Yeah. Cartoon form, and then it could be like something that Nickelodeon does where they introduce three other colors, like maybe like purple, yellow, and orange or something like that. And it's like a different like lab person, but like they have different personalities too. Yeah, I think
Interesting.
that would sort of be fun. I think it would address like the kids, but it would also be like a little bit nostalgic, you know? And
Yeah,
maybe like the first original three are like parents of them. I don't know.
that would be interesting. That would actually be really cool. Kind of like a Girl Meets World. I've never seen it, but I mean that's the concept.
Yeah, I think so. I and I one that I did want to see and they did do in a soft reboot was Charmed, but it was just not my favorite. I didn't like it at all. And I think it's because CW all of a sudden forgot how to do CGI these past few years.
Yeah.
Like somebody like let like a cat walk over the computer and they were like, "Man, we don't have time to fix it. Let it just go."
One soft reboot that I actually enjoy a lot more than I thought I would is that 90s show.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it like the first few episodes are a little bit like, eh, but after that, it like gets pretty good. And like it's one of those things that like it's like, oh, should they really be doing that 90s show? But like that 70s show came out 30 years after the 70s, and we're 30 years from the 90s. So
It sort of does make sense. Yeah.
yeah, it totally makes sense to be doing it. Um, I do feel like some of the content for it is like very different than like my 90s experience. But
Hmm.
what franchise deserves not necessarily a reboot, but a creation? So what I'm getting at is like what book series needs to become like a TV show or a movie, or what TV show needs to become a video game, or what video game, etc. You know?
Okay. Okay. Book that needs to become a movie. Fablehaven.
I could get behind that.
It is. It was like pretty big. Oh, okay. Okay. And this one also. This one's like, ooh, this one is good, but I don't know if it's going to become a movie ever because there's just so much world building in it. It's by Brandon Sanderson. It's called Mistborn, and it's like, oh, geez, it's like a mix between Star Wars, medieval, and a little bit of magic. Like it's like all of them combined, but it's a hefty book. It takes time, it takes brain power, but it's super enjoyable. And that one needs to be a series. I'm telling you, Caleb, I know you never read it, but you
Like
would
a TV
die for it.
series.
TV series or a movies.
I have heard about it, so I probably should read it, but I got to read Name of the Wind first.
Yeah, Name of the Wind, we're on it.
For me, Destiny.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Destiny, the video game, has such an incredible story, but they would have to do it right. Like they can't do it like they did Halo, which that's a whole podcast in its own.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
whole mess.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah, we'll get there one day. But Destiny has such a good story, and it's like it could be so cool to just see all of like the stuff from Destiny going on.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I it was a huge story. I loved it, but then the DLCs came out and yeah.
Yeah, which the DLCs I played probably the first four DLCs. They're great stories too. It's a great continuous story that they could milk it if they do it right.
One that I do want to see that will come up, that you haven't read either, it's called The Red Queen. Elizabeth Banks, the one who plays Effie, she signed it to be a director in 2013, and nothing's ever come of it. But it was so good that it got picked up before the series was even over.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
But I don't know where it's at in production, but I am excited about that one too.
That would be good.
Yeah.
And I know that this is already a movie, but either Prince of Persia or Assassin's Creed, and stick to the story.
Yeah, I agree. Assassin's Creed was a good like visual party, but like in terms of plot, it was like, okay, you didn't
Well,
do anything.
I think the thing, yeah, you're right. This movie could have not existed and it would be in the exact same state.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy, so many things that we could talk about, but we are running long.
Yeah, this is probably our longest episode, but thanks guys. We appreciate you sticking with us.
Seriously, guys, interact in the comments. It does so much for the algorithm, and it also gives us ideas for what we should talk about and how you guys are receiving it.
Yeah, especially since you guys are the ones listening to it. What do you want? Listen to something that you want to listen to.
Yeah, not what we want to talk about. A couple of windbags.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you everybody for joining us and for liking, subscribing, and joining the email and all that stuff. We love you.
Love you guys. Wow.
Nerd.